Aloha and welcome, caregivers. Welcome to the Caring Caregiver Show. I'm your host, Savy, founder of Gimme a Break. We're a nonprofit, all volunteer organization that's caring for caregivers, and we're here to bring back the joy of caregiving. Yes, the joy, the wonderfulness, creating those wonderful memories. That's what it should be all about. Learning and discovering and just being able to really thrive even after that. We don't just want you to survive. We want you to continue to thrive even after caregiving. So check out our website, gab808.org, right there on the screen. For those of you who are watching or who will be seeing this later, just go to gab808.org for more information about what we do and how we support caregivers. And if you have any questions, just drop us an email, info@gab808.org. I know it's hard. We're all caregivers. All of us who volunteer for Gimme a Break are all caregivers. We've all been through the journey. Some of us are still going through the journey. Some of us just can't seem to stop continuing our journeys. It goes one journey after another, right? But that's okay, because when you find that joy and you find that balance, it changes everything. And that's what we hope to do. Now, if you need support, you need us, we are here for you. All you need to do is, again, you can go onto our website, gab808.org, and you can just scroll down the page, and there's actually a link to connect to our support sessions. We do our support sessions weekly, and they are online, so you don't have to go anywhere. They don't cost anything, and they're open to everyone. All you do is go on a Zoom app and type in the meeting ID 808-754-3787. And of course, oh, hey, that's our phone number. Super easy to remember. And you're right there, right in a positive, safe space just for caregivers. We were in a session right now. We're going through kind of a 10-part series, and we're in about midway in letting go of caregiver guilt. And yes, we have our guilt that we carry. And as caregivers, we don't always let that go. And if you hold it in, it's going to get you. So we're talking last night about ways to relieve that and ways to keep positive. And one of the things that I was talking about with them last night was a little game I used to play with my mother called It Could Be Worse. And so my mother and I would get really upset. We'd get really frustrated. And I go, well, Mom, it could be worse. And then she knew that was the cue to say something that was better that we had. And we would say something like, it could be worse. Well, we could be homeless. It could be worse. We could have no money or food on the table. Now, we don't have to be that dramatic, but, maybe it could be worse. I could have wore the wrong color today. I could have 2 different color shoes on. I could have not brushed my hair. So, or God forbid, brush your teeth. So you can play It Could Be Worse any way you want, but that way it helps you to just sort of practice gratitude and kind of keep in the moment without allowing yourself to go into a really bad negative place. So join us every Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time, and just click on the link on our website and you're there. You're there with a group of caregivers just like you. The Caring Caregiver Show is how Gimme a Break gets you connected to resources. That's what we do. And our Giver's Guides magazine is a caregiver's guides to caregiving. So Giver's Guides is written exclusively for caregivers, by caregivers, with your point of view. It's no other magazine is out there like that. And so here's the October issue. That's the one I like. And so the October issue, it's been a while, huh? I've been away for a bit. So we're live again. The October issue is our 4th anniversary issue. So 4 years of helping connect caregivers to resources. And it's going to talk all about something that's coming up, which we'll be talking about later in the show, which is our Caregiver of the Year contest that we love so much, sharing caregiver stories. But there's wonderful things in there, like 10 emotional self-care ideas, 6 quick tips for stress relief. Now, you say that fast 5 times. There you go. That in itself will make you giggle. 5 ways to use a smile for mental health. Yee. Feel better already, right? So it's really great. We've got your point of view in this issue. All you need to do is simply make a donation. You make a donation of $25 or more to Give Me a Break, and we'll clue you in right there for 12 issues. So you'll get a year's worth, 12 monthly issues of Giver's Guides online magazine. You can read it anywhere, you can see it anywhere, and what a wonderful thing it is to be able to be connected that way. Why not sit in the doctor's office and read a great article on how to get through your day, right? We're here for you. It's a wonderful thing. And there's some great, great articles, especially in this October issue, including more information about our Caregiver of the Year contest. So we're here to help you. That's what we do for caregivers. And speaking of helping caregivers, I'd like to bring on my co-host for today. Let me just scroll down there. Where is she? There. Yeah, got lost in some of that other stuff. There you are. You guys all know I do my own. I do my own tech. Hi, Lani.
Hello.
Welcome to my sister from another Mister. She also owns. She's the founder and owner of her own wellness company, Alakati Associates, and published your own book, which is under. Wait, hold on. See, I'm trying to talk and click at the same time. Look. It's on screen. Aren't you proud of me? Oops, wrong one. There you go. I got to go back to this one again. There you go. Under a full moon and a guiding star. Just aloha and thank you, Lani, so much for being here. And of course, happy Pride Month. By the way, I forgot to say that. Shout out to all our LGBTQIA caregivers and today's Lesbian Day. So of course, to all of you as well. And I know it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what color, what your lifestyle. We're all caregivers and we all have to care for someone. So anyway, welcome my sister to you, Lani, and so good to have you here today as we open this new season.
Yeah, season 16, amazing, and Giver's Guides 4th anniversary. That's just so incredible that we have been connecting with caregivers
this
long, but caregiver, and not just in Hawaii, but around the world.
Mm-hmm.
We have connected with caregivers in the Netherlands and in Australia. And so I just, sometimes we get so deep into our caregiving and our work that we lose track or we lose sight of that bigger picture, that we are just growing and growing every year.
Yeah.
And yes, thank you for mentioning my book, Under a Full Moon and a Guiding Star. And drum roll, there is a new book on its way, February 2026. I'll be launching my second book. So stay tuned.
I'm so excited.
Stay tuned for that. If you would like to get more information about my book or the work that I do with Alakati Associates, you can go to www.alakatiassociates.com.
Right. And I forgot to put your website on. I forgot to put your web address, but that's okay. Just donate the $25, get the Giver's Guides, and she's got all her information in there.
Yes. And that's, that's one thing that is, I really enjoy doing, being a writer and an author. I enjoy my contributions to the Giver's Guides magazine, and just helping caregivers, before, during, and after their caregiving journeys to not just survive, but thrive.
Yeah. Yeah. And, Lani writes an article every issue, and I just love your articles because they're so practical and simple and filled with so much knowledge, but no caregiver ever looks at it and goes, oh God, I could never do that. It's almost as though it's like drinking water. Oh, wait, you wrote a great article about that once too. But it's like drinking water. You read your article and it's just as you could be sipping tea and reading it going, wait a minute, I can do this. And I can make my caregiving journey so much better. So thank you for sharing that and sharing that part of you in all of our issues. Wow. So we were supposed to have our mindful moment at this first thing, as you know how this show goes for all of you who are my loyal watchers, and she's not here yet. So we're going to see if she ends up showing up on the show. The first show is always a little tough. You guys know that. But other than that, let's just move right on, shall we, to our first guest, Lani, and let's talk with her.
So our first guest is a guest. That's her name. She's the author of Design for Your Mind, How a Family Caregiver and Mental Health Therapist renovated her home to recharge her life and didn't break the bank. I'm anxious to hear about this. She's a mental health therapist and attorney. Please welcome Annie Guest.
Aloha, Annie. So happy to have you here and so excited
Hello.
to talk with you today.
I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me, Savy and Lani.
Yeah, I'm really excited. And I'm really excited. I know Lonnie's excited to talk to you. But before we do that, we want to hear your caregiving story.
I'm the oldest child of four, obviously a daughter, and I lived next door to my parents. In my dad's final years, he developed Parkinson's, and my mom, who had been struggling with mobility because of spinal stenosis, eventually developed dementia. And because I was living next door to them and I loved them and I'm the oldest child, I was assuming a lot of the sibling portion of the family caregiving. Eventually, we did hire some professionals to assist, but most of the family segment of that fell to me.
Wow. You know what, Annie? I think we are kindred spirits because I'm oldest of four. My father had Parkinson's and my mother had dementia. And while I don't live next door to them, they were in the next town until I moved them to a care home that was sort of down the street.
Wow. See, right? Everything and everyone that we meet is for a reason.
That is a tough journey. Both of those conditions are horribly painful for the people experiencing them and for everyone who loves them, because both of those conditions keep coming back for more. They keep taking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I know that your journey also pushed you, moved you, helped you, drove you to write an amazing book. And I want to talk about your book a little bit, but I also want to talk about how you got there. And your book is a great title, by the way, is Designed for Your Mind: How a Family Caregiver and Mental Health Therapist Renovated Her Home to Recharge Her Life and Didn't Break the Bank. I love that. And that's her book right there on screen right now. But tell me what made you, and it's really important because one of the things we're always telling caregivers is you need to find a way to express your story.
Yes.
So tell us how you got from your caregiving journey to designing.
Savy, there's a little hint in that subtitle, to recharge her life. As fulfilling as the experience was, and as joyful as it was, and as great a privilege as it was to take care of my mom and dad, it came at a cost to me. To my sleep, to my ability to connect with my friends, to controlling my time, taking care of my own house.
Yep.
And I was burning out, yet even as a mental health therapist, I didn't recognize it was happening to me. All I knew was that I was feeling numb. And when there was another fall or another reason to rush to the emergency room, instead of feeling that overwhelming fear or panic or strong emotion, I would feel emotionally flat, and I blamed myself.
Yeah.
I didn't understand how I didn't understand as somebody with this training. I don't know. And I think part of it was that I was ashamed that I was judging myself, and I couldn't let myself off the hook by acknowledging a reason for this.
Yes.
And so I'd say, I don't know why I'm feeling this way. I love mom and dad. What's wrong with me? There's a lot of shame and a lot of guilt connected to caregiving.
Yeah. We're actually just talking about that in our support sessions. And in our support session last night, we're talking about ways to, not allow that guilt to put you in a negative space. And how do you
Yes.
create it to a positive space? And
Yes.
and that was why I shared that it could be worse, right? And sort of
Yeah.
recreating that. But I think it
Yes.
just lines up with exactly why you're doing what you do in your book and how that helped you. I don't mean to interrupt, but you know, you found something, you found your passion. And this is something
Yes.
we talk
Yes.
about, is that as
Yes.
caregivers, we give up and
Yes.
we're done. We don't
Yes.
have our passion anymore. We don't have a desire to want to do anything anymore. It's just, okay, we just drudge through each day and
Yes.
we lose that
Yes.
fire that we had.
But one of the reasons it happens is that we're not taking care of our 4 fundamental needs. I mean, we have others, but the non-negotiable ones are our need for good nutrition, regular aerobic exercise, an enriched environment, and adequate sleep. If all 4 of those, we can go into a numb state and give up because we're not functioning adequately.
Right.
I happen, because of my training as a mental health therapist, and because of my lifelong passion for interior design, after my parents passed away and I inherited their house, I decided to renovate it in ways that helped me to recharge and reconnect with my passion, and which included not only interior design, but writing and reading and movies and being with people. So I addressed the redesign project specifically to serve those needs, which had been neglected for so long. So what may look in the book like regular rooms actually serve specific purposes. As an example, having felt what we're describing is a feeling of being trapped, constrained, losing control over our environment, over our time. I wanted very much to be able to take deep breaths again, to feel free, to feel unencumbered, as much as I loved my parents. So I would design every room with colors that allowed the room to feel larger. Those are light colors because the effect on the eye, on the brain, is to perceive the walls as moving away rather than advancing. And Lani, you say your dad is an interior designer.
Yeah.
I mean, that is, so a light color will tell the brain that the wall is moving away. The dark color does just the opposite. I wanted to feel big rooms. I wanted to feel high ceilings. I would use a gray blue to mimic the color of the sky, paint all the way up to the ceiling, maybe including the ceiling. I would take advantage of a line of sight from the doorway to a room to draw the eye to that opposite diagonal corner by putting something arresting in that corner to pull the eye and make the room feel bigger. But all of this was to help me breathe again and feel free so that I could calm my own anxiety and feel in control of my own life again.
Yeah.
But there's
it's funny. I'm kind of relating to this. And I'm sort of picturing it too, right? If you're in a room and you're going, and we did our happy place, which I do as a meditation last night before we closed our session. And everyone sort of creates in their mind their room. And I just now created in my mind this room you were talking about. And and it made me feel, and Lani, you even do a talk on rooms, but it's like you feel that calm come to you. But I love that there's an emotion tied to that, because that's for me, I feel like that should be one of the basics too, is to allow ourselves to feel our emotions again.
Yeah.
We put them on hold.
Yes, yes. And to recognize what those emotions are, because part of this package of caregiving is focusing always on the needs of the other, because those are the acute needs. And that your siblings and other family members are focusing on the needs of that identified patient as well. Your own needs are not considered acute, and your family members or the people who love you may not even recognize what's happening to you, because those are chronic conditions. They don't rise to the level of an emergency, a trip to the emergency room, and they can't hear you or see the emergency. There's another, again, to the sense of loss of control. I didn't have enough control over to attend to my basic housekeeping needs and feel proud of my own environment at home, such that I could even invite people over if I had a time to invite them over. My dad had Parkinson's, insomnia. He'd be calling me in the middle of the night. If I was up in the middle of the night just trying to clean the house, he would be calling me. So you have no control over your time. Now, so it was very important to me when I was renovating the house to manage the clutter, to donate the things that needed to be done, and to organize what was left in ways that I could use it. But I wanted to make sure that when I walked into a room, not only did I feel space, but I felt a sense of order and control. Because maybe as a girl, maybe I mean that there may be a component, a socialized component to this. I wanted to lose the shame I felt over having a disorganized environment. And I wanted to feel an ability to focus on my reading and my writing, because one of the effects of clutter, quite aside from the social messaging about it, is that every object in a cluttered environment is competing for your attention. Therefore, it's difficult to focus on anything. So if you want to read, you want to write, if you want to recharge, you want to remember what else you had in yourself before you took on the caregiving responsibilities, it's very difficult to do that if you can't focus. So everything, it took a while.
But I think that's the key, right? Is that this doesn't just become a project that has a date to it. It becomes something that you yourself are involved in, and you use and go at it at your own pace, and allow yourself to kind of heal with each section of that area that you're doing, right?
That's a wonderful point, Savy, because that clutter actually represented a lot of our lives in the family and our parents, my parents' lives. And so going through these pieces, and not with a time limit or a deadline or any kind of pressure, enabled me and my sister, who was helping, to process the whole of our parents' lives and remember how full and rich they had been, and not simply focus on those sad final years.
When my father passed, and then I had my mother, and her dementia, kind of escalated. And so I had to sell their house, but that meant going into their home for some almost over 50, 60 years of clutter. And of course, with my mom's dementia, there was hoarding. And so having to go through that on a timeline was just the worst experience. It was just horrible. And I know caregivers who go through this all the time. And something like this really helps us to see, stop, wait. You don't have to do that. This can be different. And I think that's why I love your title so much, that you're not decluttering, you're designing for you, for your mind, for yourself.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. There's a couple of things, Savvy. You mentioned the talk that I do about the rooms, actually the meditation, which even if you can't physically redesign a space, you can visually, mentally redesign that space. And so that meditation takes you through the rooms of your senses to kind of declutter and cleanse and open up. And then the other thing that I just recently was writing about was the concept of feng shui, and that even if you just move 27 items a day in a space, that changes the energy. And it can be cleaning out a junk drawer, that you just go through that and move 27 things around, throw some things away. That little bit of change in your energy and change in the space can start to create a feeling of control.
Yes, that's absolutely true, because studies show that just the act of decluttering delivers that sense of control. It doesn't depend on having finished the job. It's taking control that gives one a sense of control. Lani, to your point about doing this in one's imagination, obviously, if you're going through a house that has years of clutter accumulated, and not necessarily because of hoarding, but could be hoarding, or it could be that your parents just couldn't physically purge regularly items that they were no longer using, there's a long time before you can actually make any design changes physically. In the meantime, I took advantage of Pinterest and created a board for every room in the house and would collect ideas. That became my creative outlet, which I needed badly. And it also helped me to work through some of the design challenges without having spent a penny on them, because I entertain an idea and then I discard it or I develop it. The Benjamin Moore website allows us to upload pictures of our room and experiment with paint colors. So I could make some decisions about paint colors long before I could pick up a brush.
Yeah, I love that. I love that now too with AI. And AI, there's good and bad discussion about it. But with AI, you can do that. You can see how a piece of furniture will look in your room. You can see how, and so you don't even have to spend a cent while you design. And then sort of go through this healing process. And I think that it's so much better, because sometimes when you have to react, you don't always create the best case scenario.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right? Well, I don't know what I was thinking when I bought that chair,
Yes. And I tried to train myself just in life never to make a decision out of a sense of need.
Yes.
I always have to I try always to make a decision with a cool head. I also, to avoid breaking the bank, I try to keep my big expenditures to a minimum, but to use design for the big expenditures and experiment and get funky and adventurous with the smaller things, like an accent pillow.
Yeah. I love that.
Countertop. Yeah. I do not want a pattern that I'm going to, a year from now.
Yeah. But you can, you can get some funky dishes.
Yes, you can get some funky plates.
You can get funky, and also anything, and you can get funky with anything that can be versatile. Move it around from room to room as your tastes change, because one of the benefits, one of the effects of this design process and the charging your imagination through Pinterest is that you're mentally growing, and your eye is developing, and your imagination is flourishing, and you should expect to be changing your mind. You just don't want to change your mind about something you've just put thousands of dollars down on.
You're recharging.
Yes,
Recharging. You're coming back, right?
Exactly. So
Step
you
by
should
step,
expect
you're
to be
coming
growing.
back.
Yes.
I love that. I love that. Now, we could probably talk all day. We're running out of time, but I want to make sure that we talk about your book again. So, Design for Your Mind: How a Family Caregiver and Mental Health Therapist Renovated Her Home to Recharge Her Life and Didn't Break the Bank, is available for all of you. Simply go check out Annie on IG at Annie Guest Design, and also just go to guestdesignforyourmind.com. And I'll tell you, if you message Annie on Instagram, or if you go and send her an email, then mention that you heard about this on the Caring Caregiver Show, she's going to have a little special something for you there. So thank you, Annie, for sharing that. And any last words to our caregivers that you want to share?
Yes. As a result of this caregiving journey, you're probably smarter and stronger and more resourceful than you've ever been in your life. Your executive functioning skills are probably stronger than they were when you were in college or 25 years old. So the question is what you're going to do with your strength, and get back to us and tell us about your next adventure.
Yes. Yep. And I love that, because we are recharging our lives. So thank you for all of that and for coming on and sharing this. I was so excited to talk with you today, and I was really excited for you and Lani to meet too. So thank you for that.
I look forward to staying in touch.
Yes, we're going to stay in touch. I have a feeling you and Lani will be connecting very soon. Thank you so much, Annie. And I appreciate it. You're all the way on the East Coast, I believe. And so please keep warm as it's getting cool there, and for staying up with us and coming on the show. So thank you so much. And I look forward to connecting with you again. Mahalo.
Thank you so much.
All right. Aloha.
Wow. That was awesome.
That was. I just, unbelievable when she said her father had Parkinson's, her mother had dementia. She's the oldest daughter of 4. I was like, oh, I know this lady.
It's like every time you and I get together, something ignites and the energy just goes through all these little synapses through the world and says, oh, here we go. Let's send this to Savy and Lani. Yeah. I love it. Well, she really does help us to see how we can use our energy for positive things, how we can recharge our lives. Caregiving is not an end all. It's just the beginning. And it's a way to continue on. We can heal from it, and we can even be better. And like she said, you're stronger. You're actually stronger. You may feel like you're weak, but you're really stronger in so many other ways. And so just recharge your mind, get going, and start designing. I'm excited. I'm actually thinking now, where can I start on my house? I need to corner of the room and get a bagua in the corner so I get the evil spirits away,
Well, and you know what? It's a perfect time of year to sort of test things out with the season, the holidays coming up. So, I started putting out our Dia de los Muertos items to start decorating, for the season coming up. And so it's, you can experiment, and maybe something doesn't stick around for next year, but it's a good time to take a little corner of your house and, put some new energy in it.
I love that. And I love that she mentioned about different social media platforms. We're not promoting any of them, but I will say that there are some out there that are great. You can get wonderful ideas using AI to put things in rooms without spending a dime. Yeah. And sometimes, even if you can't physically make it happen, if you can visibly see something and see change, wow, it would do a really great thing for your overall health, mental health. So I think that's a great thing too. But this is what the Caring Caregiver Show is going to be like this season. It's already starting out great. We've got some amazing resources coming your way, and it truly is an honor, for us here at the Caring Caregiver Show to continue to share caregiver stories. And that's something that I really wanted to talk about as well. But before that, we also want to connect you with community. And I just wanted to share, and Lani, you know what I'm going to pull up? It's coming up this Saturday. There we go. So coming up this Saturday is our yearly caregiver retreat. And, we only have, gosh, just a small handful of spots left. So if you're out there, you're listening, you see this, and you're a caregiver, but just go to the website, go to gab808.org and come to the retreat. Talk to your family, talk to anybody, talk to a neighbor, talk to somebody to help relieve you of your duties for just this one day. You deserve this. You have the strength to make it happen, and you need to be there. We're there every year. What do you think about this year's agenda so far?
Oh my gosh, it gets better every year. And just to make it clear, this is only on Oahu. We wish we could do it everywhere.
Well, that's the goal, right? One day worldwide.
Yeah.
Worldwide.
We'll be traveling to do these retreats around the world. But right now it is just local. But one of the things I think that's so important about the retreats, and we've had this feedback from people who come and experience it for the first time, is that it really does give them a recharge and a reset and a revive in a time where they're feeling that burnout, and sometimes even close to depression. I know we've had people that they just come in having the experience, hearing other people's stories, sharing and connecting with other caregivers is just so healing.
It really is. And we need that community.
Yeah.
We so need that community. And some of them don't even know each other. They've never even met before, but we have one thing in common. And that's that we're all burning out from caregiving. And this year we even have a sound bowl meditation. We're going to do a wellness checkup, and there's just so many wonderful presentations. We'll be talking about so many things, and lunch is included. Thanks to a wonderful another caregiver, who sponsored our lunches this year. And the Holy Nativity Church, thanking them so much for allowing us to use the space. Really at the last minute, we lost our space that we originally had, to a misunderstanding, and so it wasn't meant to be. It was meant to be where it is today, and we're so thankful for them doing that. And every year, like I said, we're an all volunteer organization. This doesn't come from grants. This just comes from people sharing. And so what a great opportunity to share of yourself as well, and to be part of a community. So only a few spots left. Get on our website, get to gab808.org. If you want to get straight to it, go /retreat 2025. Get that form in, because we do only have a few seats left. And we did go through a wait list. So we're going to be done probably in the next couple of days. There won't be any more openings. And I apologize, because we just didn't have the space. One day we will. One day we'll have enough space for everybody. And I know
or be doing multiple retreats.
Yes. And we'll do multiple retreats. If you miss this one, I'll be like, no problem. You can come next week, so that'll be fun. But we look forward to it. I know I look forward to it. It's my time to really reboot as well and connect. We also get to share our stories with each other. And telling your stories a big thing, right?
Yes, it is. There's such healing power in telling your story, and not just for yourself, but for others. Because there's someone in that room who's going to hear your story and connect with that and say, oh, they know, they've been where I've been, or they're going through what I'm going through. And so it really helps them to see that they're not alone. And so that's one of the reasons why we do this Caregiver of the Year and telling your story, every year, is because we want caregivers out there to see that they're not alone. Right. And that there's that power in telling your story.
Yeah. And I like something too that Annie had said. And she said, sometimes you're ashamed. Yeah. And we all go through that. We all feel that way. But we need to have a voice. Caregivers need to be seen and heard. And we are trying to get support for caregivers. And it's really funny, because I've been talking to a lot of people this week have been asking me about respite for caregivers, which is basically when someone can come in and give you a break so you can go and sleep or go and take a shower. And there aren't a lot of there aren't a lot of resources available. And a lot of it is because there's no funding, federally, state, there's no earmarked funding for caregivers. Did you know that? None. There's for older elders like Kupuna, or even for Keiki or for disabled, but there's nothing out there for a caregiver. So because there's no funding, this all comes out of our pocket, right? There's very few opportunities to have someone come in and help you that doesn't cost anything, because not everyone can afford to hire someone.
Yeah.
And so we need to change that. But the only way we're going to change that is if they know we're here, that we exist, and that we have needs. And so sharing those stories creates awareness. People don't know.
Yeah.
They don't. I bet that there's a caregiver who's going to watch this show, and they're going to be at work, and I bet you don't even know how many people beside yourself are caregiving in that whole big building or office that you work in.
Yeah.
You would be shocked if you started saying, "Are you a caregiver?" and find out how many people are caregiving. So, it's Pride Month. Well, we're coming out. Caregivers are coming out, and we need to let people know that we're proud and that we can tell our story. We don't know all the gory details, but we can tell our story so that people know caregivers exist, right?
Yeah,
Lani?
I think just recognizing that you're a caregiver, and because it has become sort of, like you said, sort of polarized between children and elders, that in between spot, people just like, I'm busy, I'm working, I'm raising a family, I'm doing life.
Right.
Well, in all of that, you're a caregiver.
You're a caregiver.
You're a busy parent caring for your family. And we had someone earlier this year that, she's been connected with us and known about us for years. And it wasn't until this year that light bulb went on. I'm a caregiver. I'm a single mom raising 2 daughters. Trying to navigate all of this.
Yeah.
That light bulb went on that she actually recognized herself in that role
as a caregiver. Right. Yeah. Right. And so many of us are, it's not your traditional, you take care of your parents. It could be a mom. It could be a boss who takes care of their employees. There's so many caregivers, right? People, pets, and plants, I always say, right? And then, the other thing too is that the caregiver burnout's real. Now, I didn't even talk about my statistic today, not once. So I'm bringing it up now, but 50% of caregivers pass before the one they're caring for. And we have to change that statistic and bring back that joy. We lost 2 of our own this year, and so, my heart to both of them. We lost both Marcus and Ruth, and we dedicated our Shine a Light celebration to them this year. But, they were vibrant. But they were caregivers, and no one saw that they weren't taking care of themselves, or it was too late. Yeah. And so, we lost them, and we can't have man down, can't have that. So,
and that's
survives.
Yeah. And that oftentimes, especially caregivers who go through a very intense caregiving journey, might think that they're surviving and doing just fine.
Yeah.
And then find out, a year later that all of that stress has now taken its toll, and something comes up for them. Right. So, that's why I do the work that I do in helping people understand self-care is not a luxury. It's a necessity, especially in your caregiving role.
Yeah. Don't wait till, it's over. Right? Because it'll start up again, trust me. Yeah. But don't wait till it's over, because if you're not learning to practice wellness through your journey of caregiving, then you may not survive it. Yeah. So I know. Yep. Well, so go to gab808.org/CGOY 2025, or just go to our website and enter our Caregiver of the Year contest, because I'll tell you, it's to help create awareness, first of all, right? And we need to use our voices. We need to let the world know that we are here. And there's some perks that come with it, right? You get to come to our awards gala, and that's at no charge to you. So you get an evening out, and you get to connect with other caregivers, and we have prizes as well. So go to the website, check it out, and please join the contest. The contest opened the first of the month, so we already have some caregivers that are in the contest, and we're just basically going to share a story. If you want your name to be anonymous, we'll do that too. But we want those stories. We need to share those stories. People need to hear about your caregiving journey. And we need to be able to say, we are here and we need support. So help us to do that. Sign up, join us, get on gab808.org and do that now.
Yeah.
Right?
And I do want to say that while the perks to coming to our gala are more localized here in Hawaii,
Right.
it doesn't discount the value of having caregiver stories from across the globe.
Yes.
That we have connection, we have caregivers through this show across the country. And so all of your stories are so important to us getting that voice out.
Yes.
That it's more than just Hawaii, and that your stories are valuable to us no matter where you are.
Yep. Yeah. In fact, we've had people from all over the world in our contest that shared their story, and that just helps us to show the need everywhere. I love that, Lani. Thank you. Well, that wraps our first episode for season 16.
Amazing.
With more to come, more stories to come, more resources to come. And we will keep shouting it at the top of our lungs to take care of caregivers and to connect you with those resources and share those stories. Next week, we actually have Heather DeRocco of InsureBot Solutions. Very interesting. She's helping us to see how AI is a safe person. And hopefully Gina will be joining us next week with Moving with Gina. And trust me, if not, then we're going to figure out a way, aren't we, Lani? I will, to figure out a way. You won't be here, but I will, to get you moving and get you doing some things to help you to be well and to be safe. So remember that the show is brought to you and paid for by Gimme a Break and a Giver's Guides online magazine. So make that donation and keep all this coming.
Yeah. So our Caring Caregiver Show is about connecting all of you caregivers to resources and a community with your wellness and survival and thriving as a goal.
I
so
love that.
Don't miss another show every Wednesday at noon Hawaii time. And put it on your calendar, put it on your phones.
Yep. Do that. Don't forget. And we really appreciate that. And by the way, I don't always ask for it, but please hit those likes and follows and subscribe buttons, because that helps us. We're not making money off of any of our social media, you guys. We're doing this to get the word out. So the more likes, the more subscribes, the more follows we get, the more people can be connected and the more can hear and the more caregivers we can do something for. And that's really what this is all about. So if you miss us live, don't worry. We are streaming on 7 different platforms simultaneously today, but you can always go on to any of the podcast platforms. And they're out there, Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, Google, any of those. And you can always listen to us in podcast later, or just go to gab808.org/CCS, Caring Caregiver Show, and you can get connected as well. The important thing is that you stay connected. Don't go off in that dark place. We're here. Stay connected. Right? We're here for you. We're here for caregivers. And of course, as far as Lani and I are concerned, we will do whatever we can to keep you well. So thank you, Lani, so much for sharing this space with me today and for all that you do for caregivers as well.
Thank you.
That's our show. See you next week. And in the meantime, remember to breathe. And here's hoping that you're finding more joy in your caregiving every week right here on the Caring Caregiver Show. Thanks for tuning in, and please always be kind to yourself and especially to those who's caring. Mahalo. Thank you.
Aloha.
And aloha. Thanks, Lani.
You're welcome.